Friends, Interchain security is definitely the most anticipated development in the Cosmos ecosystem. Why? Because it will strengthen Atom's tokenomics significantly. In today's episode, I have the pleasure to talk to Billy Rennekamp from the Interchain Foundation, and he will answer all of our questions. He will explain to us how Interchain security will strengthen Atom's tokenomics, but also what the different rollout phases look like, and so on and so forth. So make sure to watch this video to the very end. Billy, how are you doing? It's such a pleasure to have you on once again.
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine, and I'm super pumped to talk about today's topic. We will talk mainly about Interchain security, but also about other exciting stuff that is about to happen at the Interchain Foundation. So very excited about this. But as already mentioned, the focus of today's episode will be on Interchain security. And many people in the Cosmos ecosystem heard about Interchain security before. They are all very stoked about it. So could you explain Interchain security for all the people who do not know what Interchain security is yet? So let's say explain it to me like I'm 5.
Sure. So when you launch a blockchain, proof of stake blockchain, you need to have a validator set. These are the people who produce blocks, sometimes call them block producers. In proof of work places, you've probably heard of miners who produce blocks. And proof of stake, these block producers do it by having some token locked up. And if they do something bad, if they're not able to produce the blocks, those tokens get slashed, right? The security of these chains are usually a function of the value of that token. So you've got a market cap of $8 billion. To attack this chain, you need to buy up 2/3 of those tokens to start doing really malicious things. And so you can think 2/3 of 8 billion, that's the sort of price to attack this network. Now, this can be a problem if your blockchain, for instance, is a DeFi protocol, and you're trying to have a very high TVL, total value locked through different like market makers or lending protocols. You would expect to hit really, really high numbers there if you're a really successful project. There's a danger, however, though, that if the money that you have locked up in your DeFi protocols is more than the price of your staking token, that it'll be a really juicy target for somebody to attack. They could buy up as much of the staking token as possible, and then they could take over the chain and remove all of the money that's locked up in the DeFi protocol. And so there's this really sort of delicate relationship between the success of your blockchain and the success of the security of it. And especially when chains are launching, it's really difficult to try to figure out, hey, are we going to be able to have a secure enough chain to do the product that we want to do? And so Cosmos is now offering basically the ability to use the security of the Cosmos Hub for your new chain. And so the Cosmos Hub is one of the oldest and strongest proof of stake chains in existence. We sort of started the whole incentivized testnet system. All of the proof of stake networks today are run by block producers who basically got their start on the Cosmos Hub. So we like to think that the best and the brightest, the strongest, the sort of highest class of integrity block producers are all on the Cosmos Hub. And we want to start basically offering that really valuable thing that we have to new chains who are starting, who want to benefit from this. The other really nice thing about it is that it really brings you close to the Cosmos Hub. So it sort of makes you part of the core Cosmos family. And there's a lot of benefits you get from sort of being so closely situated there.
Yeah, the benefits are very worth highlighting here. But before we do that, it would be like also super interesting to get like a broad timeline for Interchain security, because to be realistic, it's not like, okay, you just make an upgrade and then Interchain security, here it is. You will roll out Interchain security in different phases. So could you talk a little bit about the different phases and the timelines, like layered security, the row upgrade, and so on?
Absolutely. So we're targeting the first version of Interchain security to launch as part of the Lambda upgrade. So Theta is going to go live basically next Monday. And then Row will follow in about 2 to 3 months. So end of the next quarter, basically Q2. And then after that is Lambda. Lambda is a Q3 target. So that is around August or September that we expect to see that upgrade go live. So we have running test nets right now with Interchain security, V1. And maybe it's important to take a minute to describe what V1 exactly is. V1 is when you have the full validator set of the Cosmos hub validating on your chain. So like I just described, you're launching a chain, but you don't want to get your own validators. You don't want your security dependent on your own staking token. So you use Atom as your staking token. And we basically replicate the entire validator set so that each validator runs 2 blockchains. And the reason that they're allowed to produce blocks on each of them is because they hold atoms on the Cosmos hub. And so the first chain we expect to see to launch with Interchain security is a project called Quicksilver, spun out of Chorus One. And not only do they benefit from having the security of the chain, but what's really great for them is that what they're building, their product itself, is really aligned with the Atom token. So they're making staking derivatives or liquid staking for Atom. And that means that you can delegate your Atom to a validator and start earning block rewards with it. However, in proof of stake systems, when you do that, the atoms are locked for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on the network. And while they're locked, if you want to trade them or do something with them in DeFi, you have to start an unbonding process. And as soon as they're liquid, they're no longer earning staking rewards. And so as we see more and more DeFi protocols where you can do valuable and interesting things with tokens, we want to make sure that the network doesn't lose security, because the security of the network is as many tokens are currently bonded and delegated to validators. And so we want people to be able to lock up their tokens, secure the network with them, but then take a voucher, basically, that allows you to redeem the original locked up atoms, but use that voucher for all sorts of interesting and exciting DeFi operations. And one version of that is Quicksilver, who will have the ability to create, manage, and operate liquid staking on their own chain. However, as this chain starts to have a lot of these Atom derivatives, in a way, this chain is like a super whale on the Cosmos hub. And if that super whale were a completely independent blockchain with their own staking token, it could be dangerous for the Cosmos hub. You never want any one party to have that much ability or control. So, we're sort of thinking ahead to, hey, if this is extremely successful and all of these atoms become derivatives and they all move over to this external chain, that's dangerous if that chain's market cap is less than the Cosmos hub. Maybe you don't need to buy a bunch of atoms over here. You just buy a bunch of their staking token, and by default, you get all these atoms. That's really dangerous. And so they see why it's important for their chain to be secured by Atom itself. And so they're really excited about being one of the first users for Interchain security.
Yeah, we will also talk about Quicksilver and other projects in a minute that will use Interchain security. But the exciting thing is that you mentioned they can leverage the security of the Cosmos Hub and from all this liquidity that is locked in the Cosmos Hub. But the cool thing about Interchain security is that there will be a final phase called layered security, so that projects can combine the Interchain security aspect with their own validator set, so that they also launch their own token and people can stake it as an addition to Interchain security to secure the chain as well. So could you talk a little bit about layered security? When will it take place? A rough timeline and what you expect from it. So do you think that there will be kind of a network effect around the corner, etc.?
Yeah, so layered security is the sort of final destination iteration on Interchain security. And it's very similar to V1, in which you have the Atom validator set gets transported to the new chain, and that's what defines the composition of their validator set. However, layered security has another step after that, and that's where they say, hey, we also have our own token, which represents who is allowed to produce blocks. So we're going to combine the list of who's allowed to produce blocks because they have atoms and who's allowed to produce blocks because they have our local staking token. And that way, if you were to calculate, how secure is that chain, it's 2/3 of their local staking token value plus 2/3 of the Atom staking token value. And so this is a way that you can really boost the security to a really massive amount while still having a lot of really interesting tokenomics in your local scenario. And then it also just, hedges your risks, because if either of those tokens, for some reason, if either of those networks do have some sort of a problem or an attack, there's a sort of like fallback where the other one is allowed to be the only token and keep producing blocks so that the network doesn't go down, it doesn't halt. You're able to have a really sort of fluid validator set that has stopgaps for maintaining integrity in block production.
Yeah, this discussion is also a lot about Atom itself. So we were talking about combining like native tokens with the Atom set. But let's talk a little bit more about Atom's tokenomics, because apparently, as far as I understand it, they will change significantly due to interchain security. So could you talk a little bit about this? So the impact of interchain security on Atom's tokenomics?
Yeah, so it's funny. If you look at the Cosmos ecosystem in the last year and you try to define what the purpose of the Atom is, you might say that it's an airdrop token. You know, it has sort of like defined the account system for all of these projects that have targeted, you know, user acquisition and airdropping massive amounts, you know, really, really huge and valuable tokens have gone out over the last year to anybody who held Atoms. And I actually see interchain security kind of as an extension and continuation of that, where all of these independent networks who have their own token economics, we expect to see a lot of especially governance tokens and in the instance of layered security, both governance and staking tokens, sending payments to the Cosmos Hub for basically, you know, the payment for the security that the network has been using. The way it's currently designed, it's very similar to like the current block production on a proof of stake Cosmos chain, where every single block, some reward of tokens is created and distributed to all of the validators and the delegators, right? In interchain security, this happens except for that token percentage is sent up to the Cosmos Hub and distributed to all of the Atom holders. And so it's sort of like a continual airdrop for anybody who has Atom on the Cosmos Hub. They're going to continue to receive block rewards from all of these other networks who are producing. So you receive block rewards from the Cosmos Hub, and now you start receiving block rewards from all of these other networks. And so you get a really diverse set of tokens. It's one way that, you know, Atom is going to be attached to the success of all the projects that we've already sort of made possible through producing the Cosmos SDK, producing Tendermint, producing IBC. And these are all open source public goods technology that we've produced and given away and seen massive success. You know, the cumulative market cap of the Cosmos ecosystem, something like 150 billion. And we really hit product market fit with application specific blockchains that are interconnected with IBC. Everybody's, you know, having great successes building these blockchains. And we just want to make sure that Cosmos inside the middle of it is able to sort of leverage that position and provide value to those extremely successful projects and make sure that those extremely successful projects have a way to you know, give back to Atom holders and basically pay for the value that we can provide.
Yeah, this I think for me it feels like that another pillar is added to Atom's tokenomics, because before interchain security, Atom was like mainly used just for staking and for governance, which is great. But I think this I don't know, this killer feature of Atom in terms of tokenomics will be added due to interchain security. Would you agree on this? That this was somewhat the missing piece of the puzzle? Because you mentioned it, Atom was mainly also used to stake it and then to receive airdrops. So many people complained about Atom's tokenomics. So would you say that this was like one of the missing pieces of the puzzles here?
Well, I like to think that every Cosmos contributor has always really focused on what's the best use of their time at that moment. And for the last few years, the best use of our time is to build the Cosmos SDK, Tendermint, and IBC to make the Internet of blockchains possible. And so we put all of our focus on that. And Cosmos Hub has been an important piece of the sort of Internet of blockchain. And in some ways, it's been the proof of concept to sort of show this technology works. It's safe, it's fast, it's able to sort of let you be extremely expressive in the design of your application. And like I said, we've sort of succeeded there, and we've seen, you know, all these projects being able to use that tech, starting to contribute back to it. And so now the sort of most valuable use of many of the Cosmos contributors' time is actually to focus back on the Cosmos Hub itself. Like, great, we made these tools, we gave them away. Now let's use them ourselves to do really awesome things that make the Cosmos Hub really a standout and like leading blockchain that has interesting and valuable contributions to the Internet of blockchains, besides just being a proof of concept to sort of prove that this stuff works.
Yeah, totally get you here. And I think like many people also underestimate the role of the Cosmos Hub in the Interchain because there's just too many exciting things that take place. But now let's talk a little bit about what we've discussed earlier about projects that will leverage Interchain security in the first place. And one of the big projects that will do so is Quicksilver. So could you talk a little bit about this once again? And also, are there other projects that are about to launch with Interchain security?
Sure. So I mentioned Quicksilver before as liquid staking, and this is a really sort of exciting new DeFi primitive. We funded a lot of the early research on this that came out of Chorus One. There was a paper published in, I think, 2019. And very quickly afterwards, we saw it happen on ETH2. So Lido is one of the big liquid staking projects on ETH2. And I think that they have 20% of all of the ETH is now staking derivatives through Lido. And that means that, you know, it's delegated and it's locked to a validator, but you've created this voucher and that voucher is not locked. That voucher can transfer around, but it can always come back and be used to redeem the locked token. So Quicksilver is working on a version of this for Atom. It begins with a module from Zaki Mannion that's coming to the Cosmos Hub in the Row upgrade. And this is a module that basically lets you instantly convert your locked delegation into a staking voucher that's transferable. Now, each of these vouchers are attached to the actual delegation that you had, which means my delegation to this validator is going to be slightly different than a delegation to this other validator. And so we've created basically 150 new token types, you know, because there's 150 validators, each validator has a new token type, and each validator's token type is slightly different and it should be thought of differently. They have different commission rates, they have different sort of security guarantees, they have different teams that are behind them that are, you know, have different types of infrastructure. And so one delegation voucher is not fungible with another delegation voucher to the validators, which is why you need protocols like Quicksilver or Lido themselves, who are also building a liquid staking in Cosmos, to basically combine these vouchers and add the calculations on the risk for each of them and to come up with a sort of redeemable one that is fungible between all of them. And so it's the sort of recombining of the diverse staking voucher primitives. And this is what Quicksilver is providing on a separate chain using interchain accounts so that these staking vouchers can be used to continue to earn staking rewards while being made available and fungible again in order to go into DeFi primitives, to be used inside of AMMs as liquidity provider tokens, to go into lending protocols. Basically, they're interest-bearing assets. You know, they're earning rewards every single day that they exist because they're being staked. But they can earn rewards in other ways too, by providing liquidity pool, liquidity by going long, going short. You can do all the sorts of DeFi things you want with atoms while not decreasing the security of the network. However, they do, of course, come with risk, which is, if those original atoms get slashed because those validators do a bad job, that voucher is now worth somewhat less. And so that's why they have interesting rewards to them, but you don't really get new rewards without risk. So it's important that people understand that. But what I think is really great about staking derivative in general, or liquid staking, is that it gives a competitive edge to the alternative, which is centralized exchange validators, who can basically recreate the experience of a liquid atom token that's still earning some staking rewards because they just have such a large amount of atoms. They delegate some portion of it to themselves, so there are rewards coming in, and they keep enough liquid here so that they allow users to buy and sell virtual atoms, even though they are in a way earning rewards. And it achieves the exact same thing, which I was just talking about. You are earning staking rewards while you're still able to, buy and sell the atoms underneath them or move them around instantly. And having a centralization of atoms within these centralized exchanges is dangerous for the long-term stability and decentralization viability of the network. And so we want to make sure that there's a decentralized, non-custodial version of this product offering. And that's exactly what liquid staking offers.
Yeah, and to be honest, Quicksilver is one of the most exciting projects that are about to launch, like in my personal view. And I have the feeling that due to interchain security, you basically lowered the barrier for people to set up their own blockchains to start building. So if we combine interchain security now with the Cosmos SDK and the IBC, Would you say that this could lead to a network effect, like further down the road? Because now this could be like a very good argument for developers to say, okay, we are going to build it with Cosmos because of these three pillars: Cosmos SDK, IBC, and Interchain security.
Absolutely. And so when you have interchain security, you don't have to worry about setting up a validator set or making your staking token as valuable as possible in order to secure your network. You're able to focus on your product itself instead of your product as a staking token. But you get a lot of other sort of benefits that do provide a network effect. Basically, once you're looped into interchain security, you get Atom and your token pair liquidity from the hub. So this is a new product that sort of code name called HAL right now, Hub Atom Liquidity. And it means that part of the Atom economics will be changed in order to every single block allocate some atoms to pay for buying up LP tokens for your token. So this will create a lot of stability for your project and make sure that you have deep liquidity pools for your tokens, as well as start receiving subsidies to IBC relayers. So this is a way to make sure that your IBC connections are always online, always connected. And the more projects who join in this, the more projects who benefit from the other ones who are also connected. Because each project who have these sort of high leverage IBC highways that are really well maintained through this new funding system on the hub will have access to each other through those same networks and be able to send cheap, fast IBC transactions between them, as well as start to have all of their economics tied together through the Atom as a common base pair. Because as we start buying up LP tokens from Atom and your project pairs, you'll all be price correlated and be able to create kind of like a price floor for you. And that's a really nice economic position to be in. Then there's other sort of benefits from just being that closely associated with the hub. We see a lot of custody providers considering using the hub as a place to store IBC tokens. So it's a huge overhead for a custody provider to onboard a new token or a new blockchain. And that is removed when they just use the Cosmos hub to manage IBC tokens. So your new blockchain doesn't have to go through all of the business development work of convincing these custody providers who give access to high net individuals and institutions who you really want to have access to your token. They're able to do that now through the Cosmos hub, and that association with the Cosmos hub will put you in that position, as well as just the sort of brand association, the marketing, and the user acquisition. Your token is now being distributed to one of the largest blockchains inside the Cosmos ecosystem that has one of the largest number of accounts and addresses that exist. This is a great way to sort of do user acquisition on a project that's really in the center of the ecosystem.
Let's bring all of this together, what you just mentioned, with the points of the discussions we mentioned before, like increasing Atom's tokenomics, and also like combining all of these aspects with the existing tools that the Cosmos ecosystem provides, and new projects that will emerge, and also projects that are about to launch, like Quicksilver. So simple question: when everything is shipped, what will the Cosmos ecosystem will look like?
Well, I'm really excited for it because my job is difficult because there's a lot of people who want a lot of different things in the Cosmos hub, and I'm supposed to synthesize a lot of that and help coordinate the work and integrate it into the actual Gaia binary, which is the code that we manage through GitHub and the validators actually run. And some of this stuff can be decided through signaling proposals, et cetera. But there's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions about what the Cosmos hub should or should not do. And there's a balance between it should do more, maybe it should have a DEX, maybe it shouldn't have a DEX, it should have this application, it should have this application, versus, hey, it's like one of the most important and stable blockchains. It needs to be really like lean, mean, and like block producing machine. It just needs to do something very stable and secure. So like there's a very high bar to get new features onto the hub. And I myself am a blockchain developer. I've built a bunch of apps in Ethereum. I love building applications. And my sort of like selfish goal with interchain security is to get the Cosmos hub to a point where it's actually pretty stable and it doesn't have a lot of new features coming in. It really focuses on just securing as many chains as possible. And so the Cosmos hub itself doesn't need massive changes, new features very often. Once it's providing sort of interchain security, all of the sort of exciting development process will push to the periphery on new blockchains that do very specific and very cool things. Cosmos Hub will benefit from all of these cool new features. It's almost like those new features were added to the Cosmos Hub, except for the code base of the Cosmos Hub didn't need to change. Validators in the Cosmos Hub didn't need to do an upgrade on the Cosmos Hub. And so like, I could see in a year or two, getting the Cosmos Hub to such a stable point that even I would, start shifting a lot of my abilities or coordination or work or teams into building exciting new projects. It's just like, okay, you know what we're missing from the ecosystem? This kind of project. Let's build that and use Interchain security, part of the hub. The hub doesn't need to change much. It's running, it's stable, it's great to go. And we'll just see really an explosion of all the application types that happen. And those will still be very tied to the Atom and the Cosmos Hub itself.
Yeah, it somehow feels like it will become basically the harbor of the whole Cosmos ecosystem that is somewhat stable and reliable. So I'm very excited for this future. But we talked a lot about interchain security, and now I also want to drive the conversation to a different topic. Let's talk a little bit about the club, the Club Cosmos. So could you talk a little bit about this? So what is Club Cosmos all about?
Yeah, so I mentioned a bit of the things about what Club Cosmos is, and I mean these are ideas that we've been workshopping a lot. We haven't made any sort of formal announcements or done any marketing or brand decisions yet. So these are all sort of like code names that we use. Club Cosmos, we jokingly called it like the Cosmos Mafia or something. It's basically the projects that are close to the Cosmos Hub and benefit from it in different ways. And they're sort of like membership tiers you could think of, like a club. We like to think of it as kind of like an all-inclusive, exclusive cabana club at the beach. Like, do you have all-exclusive access? What tier access do you have? And the top tier access is Interchain security. That means that you are basically a core blockchain within the sort of Cosmos Club thinking process. And the big benefit you get there, of course, is the security of the hub itself. However, I mentioned these other sort of benefits you get by being in Club Cosmos. One of them is these IBC subsidies to make sure that all of your IBC transactions are constantly being paid for and fast, because the sort of backbone of the IBC ecosystem are these relayer companies who need to run infrastructure to move these packets back and forth, and need to make sure that they have viable business models and stay up to date, keeping their systems running really well and the whole internet of blockchains running really well. The next one is I mentioned this code name HAL, so Hub Atom Liquidity, and you can sort of think of that like HAL the robot. It's coming for your liquidity and nothing will stop him. And that's basically you start receiving a budget of atoms, as I mentioned, that go towards buying up the LP pairs between Atom and your token. And then custody is another sort of benefit you get from Club Cosmos. And the thing that we're really trying to work out is we want to make sure that these membership tiers are accessible to as many blockchains as possible, even the ones who don't make sense as Interchain security users. So, it might be that we wait until V3, in which we have sort of layered security, and that's like a way for these otherwise independent chains that are already operating with their own staking token to sort of loop themselves in to the Club Cosmos benefits and ecosystem. But there's other ways that we've thought about it. I mean, right now, projects who launch and give airdrops to Atom holders, they've already basically, paid some form of a membership tier. They've said, hey, we want to make sure that Atom holders benefit from our new project. And, I feel like that's a really viable way to recognize them. You can also think of sort of like ongoing versions of that. If you look at the Cosmos Hub, one of the pillars is public goods. We built the Cosmos SDK, IBC, Tendermint, giving it away for free. And if you look at traditional tech world, there's like Apache Foundation and like Google and Facebook and all these projects who use Apache software. They give massive donations to these, public goods foundations who make this stuff available for free. And one version of that we might see is that blockchains themselves may periodically make donations to the Cosmos Hub. They can move some allocation of tokens into the distribution pool. Those would automatically get distributed to all Atom holders, like an airdrop. Maybe they do that once a year to sort of maintain their membership status. Or they could do it through the budget module who's upcoming, which is a way to make sure that especially relayers receive it. Or they may just donate it to the community pool itself. And the HAL, Hub Atom Liquidity idea, is actually situated in a larger conversation, which I'm really excited about, which is activating the community pool of the Cosmos Hub. you can look at it as sort of like a fund itself. It has, $20, $30 million of Atom in it every time. Maybe we want to make a proposal that increases that. Maybe we want to 10x that. What would it look like if the Cosmos Hub itself were this massive whale who was investing in all these projects, who other projects were like buying and selling tokens from? You could imagine an OTC between the Cosmos Hub community pool and the Osmosis community pool or something. Like, hey, we're aligned, we want to do a token discount, we want to buy from each other. Maybe they buy some larger portion to sort of benefit from the security, the Club Cosmos benefits. There's a few different arrangements we could have. And so we're doing a lot of interviews with projects to see like, hey, this is what Club Cosmos has to offer. What version of membership tier would be interesting to you? What do you think that your community and your blockchain would get behind in terms of, would you make a donation here? Would you do a continuous streaming payment the way that Interchain Security sends block rewards every single block? Is that something that you would factor into your tokenomics in order to benefit from these different things? And so that's where a lot of the product ideation is happening right now with the Cosmos Hub.
You mentioned it quite slightly that there will be projects that say, okay, it makes sense for us to join the club, or there will be also projects where it might not make sense to join the club. But for me, this question just emerged. So you also said that it's also possible for chains that already launched their own staking token to join the club. So let's say Osmosis. Would there be the possibility for Osmosis to say, okay, we want to join this club and somewhat as a security layer, so that Osmosis says, okay, we are implementing Interchain security partially, so that we are still securing the most of our chain with our own staking token, but that we secure 10% of the chain with Interchain security in case something goes wrong with the Osmo token, for example.
Yeah, and Sunny Aggarwal has publicly stated this a couple of times. I think that he would really love to see layered security on Osmosis when the Cosmos Hub starts offering it. The projects work closely together. Sunny, is a core contributor to Cosmos and part of the original team who worked on a lot of the core tech for a long time. And so I think he's often, also looked ahead for ways to make sure that the projects remain aligned, and having layered security, I think, is a real sort of concrete way. But I can imagine even before layered security is there, that Osmosis and the Cosmos Hub might have other sorts of blockchain to blockchain business arrangements or collaborative sort of formalities that would result in access to these different interchain services.
Yeah, this sounds pretty cool. And Sunny has a long history at Cosmos. But I want to dive a little bit deeper here. So could I say, as an existing chain with my existing token set, so are there like parameters or so that I can say, okay, I want to have like this amount of my chain secured by Interchain security, and the rest is by my own? So are there like certain parameters that developers can use?
So this design is under active development right now, but that's basically how we're thinking about it. It will depend on whether or not they're taking in the full validator set from the Cosmos Hub or a partial validator set. It also has to do with how you sort of define the security. So the thinking right now is there will likely need to be something like a price oracle. So Osmosis is again, a really great candidate for layered security because they have their own price oracle on chain. But basically the security that you're getting from the Atom is going to be, an economic security. What is the value of security that you're getting in compared to the value that you already have? And what should you pay for that? And so basically the percentage of block rewards is sort of being thought of as, how much value you are, how much value are we are, and then what is that ratio to the block rewards that we pay for that? And every time, a block goes by, the prices may change some, and you would benefit more or less, you would pay more or less depending on how much that security is worth at that moment.
Yeah, I think this will be like super exciting to see. I think this would like enable a high level of flexibility for developers. So very excited about this to see launching. But last but not least, I also want to ask you a question about the Interchain Academy. So could you talk a little bit about this, because this is a little bit alpha at the time of recording. So what is the Interchain Academy all about?
Yeah, so you should see some public announcements around this on the 6th or 7th, so just in a few days. So this is a little bit early, but don't get in trouble. We are the last 6 months, 3 to 6 months, we were working really hard with B9 Labs, who are OG educators in the blockchain space, to build the Cosmos Academy, which is available at tutorials.cosmos.network. And it's similar to like the full-fleshed docs.cosmos.network, meaning it touches every single part of the stack in depth, only it's done in a linear way. So it's like you do a textbook instead of just reading the manual. So it takes you from start to finish and really becoming a full-fledged Cosmos developer. And the Interchain Academy is using this material, but setting it up as a course with teachers where students sign up for, I can't remember if it's 6 weeks or 3 months, but basically you go through this entire academy with help from teachers doing exercises. You have to apply to get in. The requirement is that you have at least 3 years of developer experience, but you don't need to have any blockchain experience. And by the end of it, you will come out basically a certified Cosmos developer. And the next step is that you'll be paired with various core contributor companies and get hired directly into the ecosystem. There's just such a demand for engineers right now. It's really hard to acquire the talent. And then there's obviously this burden of onboarding, teaching somebody, how do you get your hands dirty? How do you really become an expert right away? And so we wanted to create a system so that we could just have fully trained engineers ready to go, ready to get hired out into all of these hungry companies and put them to work immediately. And so we've started this new program with B9, and it's called Interchain Academy. It'll be available at interchainacademy.cosmos.network. It might not be up for another couple of days because, again, I'm front running the announcement. I'm really sorry, everybody, but this is the alpha leak. And the reason it came up with you and me a minute ago, I was really excited to hear, and I don't know if I'm revealing anything, but there will be hackathons in the future. I won't say anything more concrete than that. I think that if you're interested in doing these hackathons, whether they're in one country or another, it's great prep to sign up for this Cosmos Academy course, because not only will you get placed into a position and get hired right afterwards, but you'll also be like fully fledged ready to go to these hackathons and just like clean up. You will have the skills, because I know that if you've done a hackathon like me, you often show up that day, you're like, all right, what are we learning today? And I've got to learn something and then use it in like 24 hours. That can be really stressful. So as much prep as you can do before a hackathon, you're going to have a lot better time sort of succeeding. So really encourage everyone to check out tutorials.cosmos.network to see the material, as well as interchainacademy.cosmos.network to sign up and get certified.
Yeah, this sounds so amazing. And I think this is also one of the missing puzzle pieces that we've seen in the Cosmos ecosystem, because the structure or like the architecture of Cosmos is somewhat alternative. And most developers are like very familiar with the EVM infrastructure. They are very familiar with Solidity. And they heard about the Cosmos tools, but didn't use it. So I think this would be like super cool to see how maybe also other like developers from other ecosystems would join the Interchain, and also very excited about the hackathons that are a little bit further down the road. So yeah, that sounds very exciting. So what is a very good way to stay on top of everything important that is happening at the Interchain Foundation regarding hackathons, regarding the Academy, but also regarding Interchain security?
So we have a few different channels and handles. They all boil up to the Cosmos handle on Twitter, though. So if it's something Interchain specific, usually it'll come out from Interchain.io, the Twitter account there, or the Interchain.io Medium, just the blog post there. Those will often get published to blog.cosmos.network. They're all sort of like streamed up to Cosmos. But there's also the Cosmos Hub Twitter handle, which my team runs. We do weekly fireside chats every Wednesday. Actually, we've got one tomorrow. Ethan Buckman is joining. We're going to talk a lot more about these sort of atom economics and the different way that atom economics are changing. Ethan's a real sort of economic historian buff. He's got really fantastic ideas about ways to continue to sort of grow and make sure that the atom is valuable and stable and useful, and all these sorts of great ways we love. And then, yeah, so Cosmos Hub, Interchain.io, but mostly the Cosmos handle on Twitter.
Guys, you heard it here first, and as always, you can find all the links in the description below. With that being said, Billy, it was such a pleasure to have you on. You really shared valuable insights from the Interchain Foundation with us, so thanks for that, and I hope I see you very soon, at latest in Korea or in Medellin.
Hell yeah. So glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.